So I'm going to go full screen with shift space on the 3D view, and then let's just take a look at this camera object. So I'm going to tab into edit mode, and then for starters, let's grab one of these edges which we've made sharp here, and then go shift G, and then I want to select the similar edges that are equally sharp, and then I'm going to go Control E and then mark all those as a seam. In fact, I think we've got this area here currently selected as being sharp, and I don't think we need that. So I'm going to go Control E and then just clear that seam and then clear those as being sharp as well. And that looks a bit better. In fact, we don't actually need these edges at all, thinking about it. So we can just go X and then dissolve those edges. And then if we go F6, we can just check that we were dissolving our verts as well, rather than having to go into vertex select mode just to see whether they show up or not. With that, what we can do is go shift space again, and now we can start to concentrate in our UV image editor. So I'm going to press A to select all the geometry, and then U, and then let's just unwrap and see what we get. So first, let's just get a little oriented with what we're looking at here. So I'm going to switch on the keep the UV and edit mode selection in sync, and then deselect everything in there. So we've got this area here, which is basically the front. And this bit is the screen right there. So let's just kind of tuck that inside. Next, we've got this section here, which is seemingly the border. So let's just bring that round and kind of tuck that into the side as well. Let's just zoom in a little bit. This piece here, this is in the inside there. So I'm just going to place that to the side. This section here is just the underneath area. So I'm just going to place that below everything for now. This section here is the area just underneath the visor section. So I'll rotate that around by -90 degrees and then just move that into the side. In fact, like swap places with those UVs there. Let's just put those out and then put this to the side in here. And then let's place these to the side like that. And then this face here is just at the bottom. So I'm going to press G and then drag that down here. And then we have a kind of an obvious section here, which is this whole piece, which is the main shell of the camera. So I think I'm actually going to just leave them in this particular configuration and then just go back to face select mode and then just sort of position these in a little bit more. So let's just rotate that around slightly. And then let's check our area stretching of this section. And we've got a little bit more space required for that interior section, which isn't much of a surprise because we've shrunk it down a little bit. And for this area, seeing how it's probably going to be one of the more prominent sections, I'm just going to kind of scale it up a little bit more, and then let's just bring this underneath. So that's basically those pieces for the camera done. Let's just take a look in textured solid view. And I think maybe this section here might make more sense to visualize the other way around. So I'm just going to press R and then 180 degrees. And then maybe just rotate that around slightly. So it's this edge that I keep coming back to, I think. So I'm just going to make sure that this edge is basically straight. Grab all those faces there and then just rotate that around, something like that. And then I'm just going to grab that edge and then press W to align auto, which isn't going to work. So I'm going to turn off, keep the UV and mesh edit selection in sync, select them all there that way instead, and then press W and then align auto that way. Okay, so the next thing that we need to do is basically just place all these within the single UV texture space. So this being 0 and this corner being 1 in both X and Y. We need to place everything between 0 and 1 for our texture to work. So let's select the cone, the main cone shape, and then select all the UVs there. And then I'm just going to turn off any stretching that we've got on there, and let's just start arranging stuff. So that's not looking too bad. The next thing I'll do is just shift select the base and then see where the UVs are in here. So let's move them around here. This is probably going to be the next most prominent area, so let's just press S to scale these in, and then let's take a look at maybe arranging these slightly differently. Actually, let's go and press G and then move those up, and then this piece here, let's move that up into here, this sort of area, and then this section at the top is kind of getting in the way, so I'm going to reselect that, grab these vertices and then just just B to middle click across those because we don't want those selected, and then press S to just scale those down even further. And then let's just return back to this one. So I'm shift selecting the base, pressing tab to enter into the edit mode, and that seems to be about right now. In fact, I think maybe this whole area could probably do with having a little bit more prominence thinking about it. So maybe I could scale that up a little bit more like that, and this area which is on the bottom, so I can control and plus on the numpad to be able to grow the selection there, and just S to scale those down, something like that. And then for these pieces, in fact, these little sections are these little wedgy things. Let's just tuck them inside here, R to rotate 90 degrees, and give those a little bit more space because I think we've got it. I'm going to border select across these and then just put these down at the bottom. Next, I'm going to shift select this cable area, and then let's take a look at the UVs here. So this is what we're looking at. Let's press S and just scale those all the way down. And then these don't really need that much space. I'm just going to place these all fairly close to one another. So let's just grab all these vertices here and pull those down. And then let's take a look at the camera. So I'm going to shift select the camera now. Press A to select all of those and then just scale those all down. And then let's just see what positions we can place things in here. So let's start with the main piece at the top, I think, and let's just fit the rest in down here. I think we could just scale these up a little bit as well and just make a bit better use of the area there. Bring those down to the bottom actually, and then this area here I think is going to be pretty prominent as well because it's the very front of that area. So let's just try and give this a little bit more space. And then this area here, let's just look for a place that we can maybe fit this in. So this face that we've got there, that can just be moved in here. I'm just going to scale that down slightly. And this piece here looks like we might be able to squeeze that in probably about there if we take this piece and then control and plus on the numpad and then just bring that down here. Maybe something like that. In fact, let's just rotate this piece around. So we can grab that piece and then rotate by 90, maybe see if we can do something like that. Okay, so let's just shift select the cable now, and then going to tab into edit mode again. And for this one, it looks like we've got a little bit more space to play with. So now that we've been able to see exactly how things are laying out. So I'm going to just scale this up a little bit more and then just move these over, maybe scale those up slightly as well. Same with this piece, scale that up a little bit more. Same with this piece, scale that up a little bit more. And then in fact, probably we can get away with just scaling up the rest of these a little bit more as well. Something like that. And then this piece, we can put there, and this piece, we can put there. Okay, so I'm going to call that done for the UV layout, and now it's time to move on to basically making use of all those UVs and our high poly versions and getting on with some baking, which is going to lead us into the texturing.